Hello and welcome to another and the final motorcycling clip in this set. For a reminder, I made these videos on April the 24th, Wednesday, April the 24th, when I had to ride from my house in Goulburn to Penrith in the western suburbs of Sydney at the foothills of the Blue Mountains to have my bike, which is a Can-Am Spider, serviced. I had to take it there because there are no agents in Canberra, there are motorcycle dealers in Goulburn, but I think they're reluctant to work on Spiders because they don't know a lot about them and they don't want to make mistakes and so on. So anyway, I had to take it there to be serviced. A Spider is supposed to be serviced about once every 15,000 kilometres or once a year. Mine was well and truly overdue for the service. Because I should have taken it in August last year, but I was unable to at the time. So I had to make this trip. As part of the service, I had to get a new rear tyre, and that was $370 plus fitting. Of course, BRP that make the Can-Am Spider have a recommended brand of tyre that they want you to use, and being a Can-Am dealer, these people have that tyre. I can't tell you the name of that brand, unfortunately, but I guess you could, if you wanted to, put a standard car tyre on there, but as I say, Can-Am have a recommended brand and type of tyre that they put on, and that's $379 or thereabouts plus fitting costs, so it is a little bit on the expensive side. Anyway, so that's the context, and we're on the Hume Highway now, and at the end of this clip, I'll be on the southern side of the village or township of Maruman, which is about 25 kilometres north of Goulburn, at which point the camera battery decided to run out of juice, or run out of charge, so unfortunately we'll not get to see the last 27 kilometres of riding into Goulburn. And if you were hanging out waiting to see what Goulburn looks like, then you'll probably have to wait till I take another trip, or perhaps look at some of my other videos where I have ridden into Goulburn on other rides. Being as it's now in autumn and coming into winter in Goulburn, I'm not sure when that'll be because the riding season is coming to a close almost. Yes, you can rug up and put on extra gloves and all that sort of stuff, but sometimes it's just bitterly cold and heavily frosty and foggy, and it's not really an enjoyable experience to ride. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So I'm recording this audio on Sunday the 5th of May. It's taken me a bit of time to get around to this last clip, and you can see that I've been posting other clips on a regular basis, and if you're a subscriber to my channel, you'll see that I've posted other things as well in the meantime, so that's why it's taken me so long to do this. And I had a moment where I thought, well, what can I talk about today? And then I was listening to the news, or watching the news on the TV just before making this clip, and it was handed to me. And that was that I think from might be June the 1st or perhaps July the 1st. I wasn't paying 100% attention to everything the newsreader said, but in some point in the not too distant future, there are going to be cameras that detect whether people are wearing seatbelts or not. Now, I know I've talked about seatbelts and helmets in the last couple of videos, and you've probably heard enough about them, and I thought I'd probably cover the topic well and truly, but there are going to be cameras going into operation from either June the 1st or July the 1st that will detect whether or not you're wearing your seatbelt, and whether you're wearing it correctly. You may have it over your waist, but you may have your shoulder outside of the seatbelt, and therefore you would be not wearing it correctly. The explanation given for this was that despite the fact that the compulsory wearing of seatbelts has been the law in Australia, or in New South Wales at least, for 50 years, there were still 10,000 offences last year of people failing to wear a seatbelt. Now, there are approximately 6 million people live in the state of New South Wales. I don't know how many of those people are registered licensed motor drivers. And you might say, well, 10,000 out of 6 million isn't too many, but for a law that's been in operation for 50 years and is a very simple thing to get in a car, click your seatbelt in, make sure your passengers have their seatbelt clicked in, because one of the conditions of failure to wear a seatbelt is even if you're wearing yours and the other passengers in your car aren't, you will be fined and you will attract demerit points to your licence. So it's a good point to go and check and ask everybody if they're all buckled in before you set off, and have a look on the dashboard of your car somewhere, and there'll be a light, no doubt, that tells you if the seatbelts are buckled. So we have speed cameras, we have mobile phone detection, use of mobile phone detection cameras, we have red light cameras, and now we have seatbelt cameras. Now you might make an observation and say, well, this is just another excuse for the government to raise revenue, and perhaps you're right. But the fact that we have red light cameras means that people will speed through red lights or go through red lights, and there are accidents, and there are consequences of those accidents in terms of injuries to people who had the right of way because the light was green, and you could be injured anything from a few cuts and scratches to a catastrophic injury. We have mobile phone detection cameras because despite all sorts of advertising campaigns, people continue to use their phones while they're driving. Now you can, these days with most cars, somehow mirror or Bluetooth your phone to your car, and providing you're prepared to spend a few bucks and buy a cradle of some sort that attaches to the windscreen or the dash or somewhere on your car, then you can use your phone to talk to people or whatever else it is that you want to do. Hopefully not send text messages, but at least talk to people. And when they call you, say, look, I'm driving now and I can't talk, and I'll call you back whenever I get where I'm going, whatever. And yet people continue to hold their phone in their hand and attempt to send messages and answer the phone and so on. So it appears that those cameras are necessary. Speed cameras we have because people speed. There's frequently one parked in a street outside my house, which is an urban area where the speed limit is 50, and these speed cameras are operated by a private company, which is the government of New South Wales has outsourced the work here to a private company who have a bunch of people who sit in SUVs with the camera in the back, and there's a sign up front, a sign before the camera and a sign after the camera that says your speed has been checked, or mobile speed camera in use, and it's frequently outside my house. Now, I don't know whether it results in fines for people or not, or just is there to tell them that there is a camera monitoring their speed, but it appears to be necessary. So we have, as I said, speed cameras, mobile phone cameras, red light cameras, and now we have seatbelt cameras because, as I said, 10,000 offences last year of people failing to wear a seatbelt, which got me thinking a little bit about how this could be prevented. A lot of cars, most cars these days, would have some sort of idiot warning light on the dashboard that comes on when the car starts and doesn't go off until all the seatbelts are fastened. But that doesn't make people wear the seatbelt. Some people, the same as when the engine light comes on, or the oil light comes on, or the temperature light comes on, or whatever, they just ignore it. There are cars these days where when you sit on the seat of sit on the driver's seat, and as long as your foot is on the brake, the car will start. One of the MG electric cars, I believe, I can't remember which model, but one of the MG electric models has that facility. There is a fob which you must have in your pocket, so I guess there's 3 checks. One is you've got to be of a certain weight, otherwise you're probably not going to be detected by the sensor. Second is you must be able to put your foot on the brake, and third, you must have the key fob in your pocket. So it led me to think, well, why can't there be now a sensor in every seat that detects if there's a weight of over X kilograms in that seat, then the seat belt must be fastened. Now you might argue, well, I put my groceries or put my handbag on the seat or whatever, and so I could say, well, okay, if your groceries are over a certain weight and the boot's full and you can't put them there, then just do the seat belt up, or put the groceries on the floor and put your handbag on the floor. So if there is a certain weight, I don't know what. I can't think of a weight that it would be, but say when you have a newborn baby in a capsule, that capsule has a certain weight, and you have to attach it to the anchor points in the car and then feed your seat belt through it as well. So ANCAP, which is the Australian New Car Assessment Program, crash assessment program, requires that cars have a certain bunch of what are called ADAS, or Advanced Driver Assistance Safety Systems, things like speed speed sign detection, lane keeping assistance, rear passenger alert, and so on. Many drivers complain, especially in electric vehicles, about how these things are poorly calibrated and they go off unnecessarily, and they beep all the time and people want to turn them off. So they navigate through the screen. But there could simply be a sensor put into the car somewhere in each seat that says, well, when the weight in that seat exceeds a certain mass, I don't know, 5 kilos or something, then the seatbelt must be fastened or the vehicle will not start. Now, in Australia, if you are convicted of PCA, which is prescribed content of alcohol in your blood, it used to be called DUI, driving under the influence. Now it's called prescribed content of alcohol. If you are convicted of that offence, no matter what your alcohol reading was, so whether it's low, mid or high, you are required for a period of time, I think I'm correct in saying this, and I'm not remembering it, I'm not a lawyer, but I think I'm correct in saying this, that you are required to have an interlock, which is a breathalyzer device, attached to your car for a certain period of time, and depending on the severity of your offence, it might be 3 months or 6 months or whatever. And how that works is when you get in the car, you've essentially got to blow in the bag or breathe into the machine, and if it detects that you have any alcohol in your car, in your system at the time, the vehicle simply won't start. And not only that, your failure to get the vehicle to start will be recorded as a failure to obey the zero content alcohol restriction that was imposed upon you by the court, and therefore your period of having the interlock will be extended by 3 months. So it is possible to have such devices as if you're under the influence, your car doesn't start. If you're in your car and the seatbelts aren't fastened, you might say, well, I'm the only person in my car. As I said, if you have a sensor in every seat that detects anything above a certain mass, if we say 5 kilos or something like that, or 10 kilos, if it detects anything in the seat above 10 kilos and the seatbelt isn't fastened, the car doesn't start. You might think this is all a bit nanny state and protecting people from their own stupidity, but first of all, as I say, and I'm now saying it for the third time, 10,000 offences in New South Wales of people failing to wear a seatbelt despite a law that's been in existence for 50 years and essentially imposes no restriction. It doesn't make your driving more difficult to wear a seatbelt. It's not requiring you to do anything other than fasten up a belt that goes across your shoulder and across your lap, and that you know, and that everyone knows, will prevent the most catastrophic of injuries, and possibly will save your life. It is reasonable to assume that if that's the state of play in New South Wales, that there are similar numbers of offences or in other states, or a number of the offences are relative to the population of the state, where people, for reasons that cannot be fathomed, just fail to wear a seatbelt when they get in their car. So that was a nice topic that was handed to me today by the newsreader, and a subject for me to talk about. Now, just coming into the little township of Marulan, I went past a moment ago the truck checking station. I think most of what happens there is now done by point-to-point cameras and a rolling road type thing. So there are point-to-point cameras that can detect how long it's taken a truck to go from one point to another. If it gets there faster than a certain time, then it's deemed to have been speeding as an automatic fine. You can roll over a mobile weighbridge of some sort to work out if the truck's exceeded its weight. I'm not sure what happens with the logbook offences. In other words, to make sure that the driver is stopping appropriately and taking a required number of rests at a certain time. But the checking station is still there. Many of its operations, as I said, are now probably computerised. Maroon is becoming a sort of growing community north of Goulburn. I don't know what the population is at the moment, but I know that it is growing. There are a few more shops opening there, and a couple of big service centres on either side of the road. BP, I think they are. I can't say with absolute certainty that there are electric chargers there, but I would be surprised if there were not electric chargers there. The service centres are on either side of the highway, so you don't need to leave the highway to access them. And we're just coming up now to the exit to South Marulan and Bungonia, which is a place that I've been a couple of times on my bikes and made videos about. Well, thank you for watching this series of videos. I hope you've enjoyed them. If not, I hope you've enjoyed the commentary. I hope I've had some impact on some people and their safety behaviour, on their road behaviour in terms of helmets, seatbelts and whatever. I shall get around to making some more motorcycle videos in the not too distant future, and hopefully one of those will be where you can see me either riding into Goulburn or out of Goulburn. So thank you for watching. Please feel free to comment when the video is posted, and when I become aware of your comments I will respond as I can. Thank you for watching.